Hello and welcome back to another installment into the extraordinary life of Emon. I am your host and we are back for part 2 to the story. It's been a few days for you guys, however it's been like 10 seconds for me, so we're gonna just go ahead and jump straight into it. If you guys can, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave a wonderful comment down below. That being said, let's go ahead and figure out what happened to that 70K and see what happened to Foxy. Okay, so the last time we stopped the investigation when I basically found a match and I actually established probable cause and had reason enough to start doing hard inquiries into Foxy's finances to figure out what exactly was going on and where the actual money went. At that point, all my suspicion had went out of the window. I was already set in stone. I already knew at that point that Foxy stole the money. So now it's just proving it, dotting the I's, crossing the T's so I can get her basically in jail, because in my line of work, God honest truth, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. A little bit of a side note though before we move forward, in these type of investigations, it is very important and crucial for you not to spook the person involved, because you never know, if they stole a substantial mean, they could actually flee the country without you even realizing it. You may have all the evidence in the world, but if someone's in another country, it don't matter. They're not coming back. Definitely once they get spooked to the point where they know, yeah, they're not coming back. So you got to be careful when it comes to investigating these, not to alert the party involved until you're absolutely ready to. Back to the story. Like I said, the clearinghouse actually helped me out a lot. They supplied me with a lot of information. Fine details that I needed, they supplied. When, where, how, all that information the clearinghouse provided to me. The detailed report that they granted me access to had dates, times, etc. on it, even down to telling me what the transactions said in her account when she received the funding. The legal description of what the funding was for was present, so you can't even say that you didn't know what it was for, because it tells you what it was for. If it was a mistake in any kind of capacity, you could have contacted your bank and figured it out. You see what I'm doing here? This is how you get to that beyond a reasonable doubt that this person did it. She can't say I didn't know what this money was for. Nah, it says here what this is for. You knew. There's no way. In law enforcement, you can get whatever record that you have a need to know to obtain. In order to reference that need to know and to get legal access to it, we have a wonderful thing called a search warrant. A search warrant is legally that. It is a legal document that allows a law enforcement officer to search, to obtain, to seize evidence of a crime based off of probable cause associated with whatever's in the affidavit. I obtained a search warrant in reference to Miss Foxy's records, all of her financial records from several different financial institutions. I had a need to know that information because she was now a prime suspect, because I've confirmed that those accounts were receiving money from the clearinghouse. Also, when it comes to a search warrant, it is a legal court order, so whatever entity it is has to provide you with the information. They don't have a choice. Once I got all the information, it was done. It told me everything that I needed to know. So let me fill you guys in on exactly how this was working. Foxy would receive the clearinghouse money into her account. It would be utilized as payment to her credit cards. Initially, you would think that most people pay their credit cards all the time. However, most people don't pay their credit cards every single day. Maybe once, twice a month if you get some extra money. So I started tracking the transactions and I started figuring out what exactly she was doing. So every day, Foxy was paying off her credit cards with the clearinghouse money because she was using her credit cards to finance and build and buy and obtain goods and services from the credit that she was allotted by those financial institutions. This tells me she knew what was happening, she knew what she was doing, and she knew that what she was doing was illegal because she was trying to hide the money. So in doing what she was doing actually brings about additional legal charges, because what she was doing was actually trying to hide and manipulate the financial systems in place. We have a term, it's called a washing, and that is exactly what she was doing. she was washing the money using her credit cards. Because the purchases she made on her credit cards were paid for legally and legitimately utilizing the credit associated with the financial institute that gave her said credit, those items are now protected. I cannot seize those items, and I don't get the money back because I can't seize that money that was used to pay the credit card off. Hence, this is a technique utilized by criminals who know what they're doing. She clearly has done this before. So you hear about this a lot in the major mob movies and whatnot. They call it money laundering. That's what this is. So basically, even if she's convicted, I can't seize any of her assets because they were legally purchased. Criminals use this all the time as a means to blind law enforcement. They use this to hide things, to invest in things, to wash basically, and to launder, so we can't actually jump in and seize everything associated with the criminal action. So at that point, I spent a couple of days. I went through all the transactions. I figured out where the money was laundered. I figured out how many charges that I need, and I went and got arrest warrants for her. Unfortunately for Foxy, and I don't really know if she knew this or not, but each time you launder money, it's a different charge. So she was about to get hit with some major charges because remember, she stole $70,000. So it was a lot of transactions that went into this. I would say at this point, the investigation into the incident was concluded. You know, I've gathered all my evidence. I have everything. I got my arrest warrants. I'm gonna tell you what I charged her with in a moment. But before that, there's one more piece that I needed to do when it came to this investigation. Give her the opportunity to come clean, to tell me the truth. So at this point, she's already wanted. She just doesn't know. I called her on the phone. I actually made contact. Remember what I said? It's very important for you not to spook them before you're ready. So on the phone, I went under the guise of I was investigating her information, her personal identifiers being leaked out at the medical center that she just left. She wasn't having any of it. She immediately caught on to what was happening. She immediately recognized that she was in trouble. She wouldn't give me her name, her location, anything like that. Nope, her employer address, none of that. She didn't give me anything. She immediately shut it down, said I'm not talking to you anymore, and hung up the phone. When you see things like this, you know they're spooked. You know that this person knows what's up. And now at that point, you have to move fast because this person has the means to skip town. So be ready to move if you're in a situation like this. So let me tell you exactly what she was charged with. She was charged with 109 counts of felony money laundering. She was also charged with 4 more felonies for the embezzlement, computer fraud, identity theft, and finally she was charged with 1 count of felony computer trafficking. How did this end, you're probably thinking? I actually already knew what I was gonna do. I had units in place at her home and at her business. I already knew where she was. Why? Because prior to calling her, I already located her. Me and Dr. T figured out where she was now working, and then we figured out her address based off her banking records. As soon as that phone call ended, what I didn't tell you was I put another call in to a coworker in another county. They raided both her house and her business and arrested her. She wasn't at her home, she was actually at her business. Her business was within my jurisdiction. When they made contact with her, I said, no. I told them to hold on to her so that I can come and make contact with her. I drove over there, I greeted her appropriately, showed her the paperwork, and said it's time to go to jail. Foxy ended up pleading guilty. She pleaded guilty immediately. She didn't want a trial. She already knew. She got up there, she said, Your Honor, I'm guilty. I did it. I'm sorry. Please have mercy on me. And all in all, she did actually receive 18 years associated with this. So I'm not too upset about that. So she's gonna be away for a while, and that's okay. Unfortunately, the money's gone, and that's how this normally goes. She will have to make payments and restitution. However, that's gonna take years to make this right. But at least I did get her. In the end, the victims were okay with it, and everything actually worked itself out. So I really can't be too upset with it, and I was able to hold her accountable. So I take that as a win. But that's it. That was the story. I put her away. It was a long one. This has been a 2-parter. So if you haven't, obviously check out part 1. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. What do you guys think down in the comment section? Let me know, how do you guys feel about this and how I did. Let me hear it down below in the comment section. If you can, do me that favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, all that wonderful good stuff. This has been another installment into the extraordinary life of Emon. I have been your host, and I'll see you on the next one.